is Heart Health Month, and so we already talked about the fact that heart attacks and strokes are the number one killer of women and men, and that women sometimes miss the boat because they don't think that they're at risk. So just to refresh, and the thing is that I always find interesting when I'm dealing with my patients is that we're always scared of the things we don't have control over, because that's just human nature. We want to be in control. We want to be able to we don't like being out of control. So with COVID, we have certain things that are in our control, and we can do those, but we don't like to be told what to do, and we don't like things that hinder what we want to do. So it's okay to pay the piper when it doesn't affect us that much, but then when it suddenly is, you can't go here or you can't do that, then we want to bend the rules, and that's just human nature, and that's just the nature of us as Americans, because we're used to our freedom and being able to do what we want to do. And I'm here to judge. I'm just stating a fact. The same thing with heart disease. The things that can protect us are very basic, but the majority of us don't do them. And so, uh, I get patients all the time that are afraid of cancer, or afraid of COVID, or these things that of dying. And when I say that, one in two, so that's me or you, are going to die of heart attack or stroke. It's kind of like, it just doesn't have that same zing. It doesn't have that fear factor, even though it really should, because it is, and will continue to be the number one killer. So um it's things that we know that we can do, but we don't want to do them. The biggest thing, especially here in the United States, is diet, 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 diet. And diet is just so important for so many things. So it's heart healthy. It of course can decrease the incidence of diabetes. It can control diabetes. It can help your blood vessels. It can help you a lot of people don't realize it helps you. Your diet can influence your sleep. Your diet can influence your ability to have sex. Your diet can influence your anxiety and depression. Foods, these sugary foods, these artificial foods, all the fillers and the preservatives, they take a toll on our bodies. So eating healthy, I know it sounds boring, but it actually can make a big difference, and it can save your life. Even with COVID, eating healthy and getting your sleep, they have shown that those things will help your body to be able to combat COVID. Heaven forbid if you get it. And so simple things. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not here to sit down and go over specific diets and tell you, okay, eat this little portion and that portion, etc. There are one of the joys, of course, with COVID. One of the positive things is that pretty much everything is available online. So and for sometimes more reasonable prices than used to be. So if you're someone that has not been able to have access to a health coach or access to a dietitian or nutritionist, Dr. Google's your friend. I would get on there. I would Google. I would see if you can find somebody. And the great thing is they don't have to live anywhere close to you. You can have a consult with somebody in Alaska if you want to. And you can sit down, and there's lots of different people. There's lots of different diets. There's lots of different recommendations. And same thing as we always talk about, you weigh the positives and negatives. You take into account your health history, the medicines you're on, and what is a good thing for you and your eating. And that's how you should come up with the eating plan that you are going to utilize. I don't like the word diet. The first three letters are die. It involves starvation. It involves negative thought process, and it also involves a short-term fix. And as I tell people, when you're talking about heart disease, when you're talking about diabetes, when you're talking about weight loss, and when you're talking about just being healthy, it's not going to be a 4 week, a 6 week, or 12 week treatment thing. It just doesn't work. I don't care what you do for 6 weeks or 12 weeks. If you can't keep it up, it doesn't get you anywhere. And that's what it gets you is that yo-yo, right? And so that's what we see. And people lose weight and then they gain it all back. And actually, they tend to gain more because the body says that crazy lady just starved me. It's usually ladies, not to say that guys don't diet, but guys don't tend to usually diet the way that our women do. So I'm not trying to be biased. I'm just calling it like it is. So most people, when they diet, their thought process is not the way it should be. You should think, I'm changing my eating habits for the rest of my life. And I get people all the time, no, I just need a kickstart. I just need a medicine to help me, and then I'm going to be okay. No, it doesn't work that way. There's no miracles. I wish there were. If there were, we'd all be on them. There is no miracle pill. There is no miracle supplement. There is no miracle diet except for changing your eating habits and keeping it there. There's nothing, like I said, there's no short term fix that's going to continue unless you continue doing what it is. So, therefore, I don't like extreme diets. Why? Because you can't keep them up. And so I get people that come in my office all the time. I'm on this. I'm on the keto diet. I'm on the intermittent fasting. I'm on the blood type diet. I'm on, I don't know, there's a billion of them. I'm on the South Beach diet. There's a billion diets out there. And what I say to them is, if it's working for you and it doesn't affect your health, then have at it. But I don't want to hear about it until you've kept the weight off for 2 years, because that's all I care about is, can you continue whatever you're doing, and is it healthy for your body? There are people who go on some of these diets, and it's all about calorie counting, and it's all about points or whatever, and it's not healthy. So I tell people, you can't tell me that you're eating a lean cuisine and that's as good as is eating a piece of fresh chicken. And so I don't, if God didn't put it on the ground, or put it in the tree, or then I don't think it should be going in your mouth. And so I always tell people, flip your get used to reading labels. And if you can't, pronounce everything that's on that label, it probably shouldn't be going in your body. If you see the words and then the trigger words, modified cornstarch, high oh dear Lord, now I'm breaking up. Any of that stuff, any of that fructose, not fructose. Oh God, you need to help me. It's high. It's the corn syrup, it's the corn starches, all that stuff. It's just garbage. And you have to. It's amazing how much it is there, and so that's the problem once again with dieting and not having a nutritionist or somebody helping you, is that the American diet is so crappy that we usually just go from crappiest to crappier. Yeah, corn syrup, thank you. And so you may think, like, okay, I'm not gonna eat. So we know certain things are bad, right? So we know that we shouldn't have sodas. But then people think, well, I'm gonna have a diet soda. This is what I tell people about sodas. If you can clean your carburetor with it, I don't want it going down my throat. So I'm not saying I've never ever drink a soda, but I mean, you should not. Soda should not be anywhere in your vocabulary. I don't care if it's zero. I don't care if it's diet. I don't care if it's full. If I'm gonna drink a soda, I'm gonna drink a full one, because I don't believe in all that other stuff. Because once again, you get even more into stuff that you can't pronounce the more you go down that path. And same thing with the sugar-free foods and stuff like that. If you're drinking something that's sugar, yeah, this sugar substitutes are horrible for the most part. And like I said, I'm not trying to get everybody, I don't want, the people, the makers of Equal and stuff coming after me, but you have to realize that if you do your own research, there are a lot of things that we have here in the United States that other people do not. They're banned. I mean, most sugar substitutes are banned in other countries. Why? Because they realize they're not good for their people. And so it's not because they're trying to be mean. They're trying to maintain your health. But here in the United States, once again, we are free to kill ourselves, and we are free to eat whatever we want, and our stuff is supersized. You don't go places and get all this supersized and triple burgers and all of that. You don't see that in other countries, and that's why you also don't see, a lot of these other countries are much healthier than us, even though we have access to more things. But that's the problem. We have access to more things. That's why people like to come visit us, because they can eat all this stuff that they can't get in their country, for better or for worse. Um, um, Zevia, Stevia is stevia. So Elizabeth is asking about Zevia, which is a non-calorie soda made from stevia instead of sugar or artificial sweeteners. So stevia is definitely if you look at normally they sayers, the sweet and low, bad, bad. It's been around forever, and that's usually something that the elderly and people over 70, 75 are used to, because that was like one of the first ones they came out. So most of the younger people I don't see reaching for the pink packets, but the pink packets are really, really bad. You really shouldn't do those. And then you've got the equal, which is the blue packet. You got the yellow, which is the Splenda. And I can tell you, I mean, I was a big Splenda person. And I finally was able to get off of that. And then I do play around. If I'm going to put a sweetener in, I will use stevia. That is considered the most natural. But there are people out there that have their issues with stevia as well. So you have to kind of do a little bit of research into the weigh the pros and the cons of that. But of all of them, stevia is the most natural, and would be the one that I would reach for. Once again, anything in excess is not good for you. So I don't recommend that you're drinking a lot of anything besides water. And so sounds boring, but that's what I recommend. I don't even like, like the little flavor drops and stuff like that. Drink the water. Try not to, have all this artificial stuff going in your body. I like raw local honey, because raw local honey, if you've never had it, it means that it's made from the bees that are close to where you live, and I mean close. Like we live in I live in Orlando, and so we're talking about when I buy local, I'm not talking about an hour from here. I'm not talking about 2 or 3 hours from here. I'm talking about 10 minutes down the road. I want my honey local. Yes, I live in Florida. I get it. So you may not be able to do that in other places, but a lot of places have beehives, so you'd be surprised. You're not going to see it in your regular supermarket. Even when they say it's local, you have to turn that label over. And here in Florida, even, they will say that it's local, but local is Jacksonville. Well, that's 2.5 hours away. I don't want those bees. I want my bees from here. So do the best thing if you live anywhere. I mean, here in Florida, but anywhere, is your farmers markets. I know that a lot of those got closed down when COVID hit, but I'm hoping that, especially as the spring comes back, that people are going to start venturing out and that those are starting to appear. I know that in DC they have some nice ones, and fresh produce and all of that. So that's my recommendation. You can go when you the second best thing, Fresh Market usually has those, if you guys have a Fresh Market near you or something like that. Trader Joe's sometimes, and then Whole Foods will usually have a local honey place, and so that is my recommendation. You can eat local raw honey with a teaspoon. You can't do that with processed honey. You would, well, maybe you can. I can. It would be way too sugary and way too sweet. But if you if you eat regular local honey, it's not that sweet, and it's excellent. And it's great for boosting your immune systems and helping your allergies. Also, if you get access to fresh bee pollen, then that's also very good, and it tastes kind of like peanut butter. But just realize one thing, even though we're talking about these wonderful natural sweeteners. Oh, and I used to do agave, but that one, they kind of, the naysayers say that one's not so good either. So you can, like I said, go into a little bit more research on that. But I've kind of gotten away from all of those things. I usually either use real sugar if I'm going to reach for it, and then I use the I don't use sugar so often. What is it? The one that looks like brown sugar. It's not. It's the raw cane sugar, but you got to be really careful. You have to read the label, because they know this. They know that you don't know what you're looking for, and so it'll say pure cane sugar. That's just regular sugar. That's not the one you want. You want the one that looks kind of dirty. And it's usually will say that it's coming from South America, and it'll say freshly farmed. And oh, it's pure cane syrup sugar. That's what you want. Pure cane syrup sugar. And so it has to have that word in there. If it just says pure cane sugar, it's just regular old sugar, and they're just trying to fool you. So be careful with that. Like I said, that's what it takes, is actually becoming a pro at reading labels. So it takes some work, but if you do it and you start doing it all the time, you'll get used to it. You may have heard me say you shop the outer perimeter of the store. You want fresh if you possibly can get it. You want frozen if you can't get it, but you want frozen in natural juices. You get no brownie points from me for eating a thing of carrots if they're covered in maple syrup, and or what have you, or your fruit is in high fructose juices. I don't care, so you want to eat real food, real food. And that means you actually have to cook it. You can't, the fast food restaurants shouldn't know the make and the model of your car. If they do, if they're waving at you when you come up and going, hey, Danita, how you doing? Then that's a problem. So they should not know you. And so if they do, you need to rectify that. And just doing that can be immensely a big step in helping your heart. And so I know we've kind of digressed all off into the diet, but I think it's really important because it's one of the few things we have control over. And I hear people all the time saying, because we know, like I said, that the poor diet's going to increase the risk for diabetes, and diabetes increases the risk for heart attack and stroke. It's going to increase the risk for high blood pressure, and that increases the risk for heart attack and stroke. So it all kind of ties in together. Diet is just extremely, extremely, extremely important. And like I said, because of we're such a diet conscious society, people just don't know where to start, and they think, okay, well, I'm going to eat a granola bar. That's a glorified candy bar. I'm going to eat yogurt with the fruit in the bottom. I'm doing something great. That's processed. Buy the regular yogurt and a plain yogurt. Drizzle some local raw honey on it. Cut up your own fruit and put it in there. But don't, buy the. You're welcome, Michael. So don't buy that stuff. You think you're doing a good job because we don't know what we're doing. And so, like I said, get somebody that can help you if you get overwhelmed, because it can get overwhelming the first couple of times. So don't get too overwhelmed, and pick small things to do. Like if you try to do it the first time you go grocery shopping and you're trying to do a full shop, you will probably run out of the grocery store screaming, because you will suddenly realize how many things. And I'm not saying I don't eat junk food. Good Lord knows, I can, but not on a regular basis. And I always say, like, if I'm gonna put calories on my rear end, it's gonna be something homemade. So so I do stay away from the processed stuff for the most part. So I hope that that's been helpful. The other thing, of course, is exercise, but that's a whole nother conversation that we can get into maybe next week. I'll see. I was actually planning to talk about sleep. I thought we would talk about insomnia, because that's one of the things that is actually affecting a lot of our COVID long haulers, and it's something that I deal with in my practice every single day. And so I was thinking that, but if you guys would prefer to talk about exercise, we could certainly delve into that as well. And if there's no other further questions, I will, of course, wish you guys adieu, and hopefully you have a wonderful weekend. It is sunny and gorgeous here in Florida, so we will be spending some time outdoors getting some fresh air. And hopefully you are. I know that the country, the weather's been going up and down and sideways. So when you do get some good days, get out there. If you're in the cold and you're out there in Park City or something like that, get some skiing in for me. I wish I was there. And I will see you guys next Friday in March, and we will go from there. As always, have a wonderful weekend. Stay healthy and stay safe. Take care, guys.